Okay.
All three of us, yeah.
All right. Well, tell everybody who you are, what you do, why you do it.
Well, Frank's been helping me with StrongArm products, Mr. StrongArm himself, for years now. When I first started racing at Bonneville, it was interesting because we built custom bikes to race out there. We built the throttle cables to run special carburetors and stuff. We got back home, let the bike sit for a week or two, went to go play with it, and throttle cables just snapped right off.
They already rusted away.
Already rusted away, got inside the center of the cables, and just the environment that you're in, the salt got there. We started assembling our cables with StrongArm, and since 2007 we've been racing to 2013 with the same throttle cables. Never had a throttle cable break, never had a throttle cable come loose at the swaging where we put the ends on.
6 seasons.
6 seasons of just using StrongArm.
And before that you only got 1 season out of it.
1 season, and we were assembling with lubricants, other manufacturers' lubricants and stuff, but after washing and cleaning the bikes, it would just remove the lubricant, and we wouldn't have the success we've been having. I haven't had an axle stick on me since we've been racing out of Bonneville. We assemble axles, we assemble bearings, everything using the StrongArm product. The aluminum, a lot of our motorcycles have aluminum gas tanks, aluminum fittings, and the deterioration of the aluminum is massive in the salt environment. Again, before we race, before we go out there, we polish, clean the bikes, and then we take a light rag and we wash the whole bike off with Armstrong, just very lightly, wipe everything down with Armstrong, and the salt virtually falls off of the aluminum.
It doesn't collect anymore.
Well, what happens with the salt out at the Bonneville is once you've aerated the salt, you've got it up off the ground, it has the ability to dry out and it turns into a concrete. If you have a dry surface where this stuff can attach to, you physically either have to wash it off with water or chisel it off the motorcycle. With the StrongArm product, you can physically walk up to that motorcycle, tap that salt, and it just drops off. Engine casings on cylinders.
So it's like a mold release.
So it's basically like a mold release agent that you use.
And what about at 150 miles an hour? That salt is swinging up off that tire. It's like a sandblaster.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like taking a sandblast machine and putting rock salt in it and sandblasting your parts.
So, and it does not strip away the StrongArm.
And anybody that does that would be insanity.
Yeah.
To sandblast parts with salt.
We use it as a nut and bolt release agent. Before we assemble the nuts and bolts, we actually coat it with StrongArm.
Thread coatings.
We use it on the stainless steel hardware as a stainless steel nuts and bolts tend to foul. We use it as a lubricant for the stainless steel nuts and bolts, so they spin on and off. We don't have
it's an anti-seizing.
Yeah, anti-seizing device. So it has definitely stood up to every questionable doubt that we've had with any part of the motorcycle, as will this come apart, will this stay rust proof, will this last. We use it on the chains, we use it on the sprockets, we use it on just about every application we can
find. Tire to tire.
Yeah, tire to tire, wiring.
Put it inside the rims before you put the rubber on?
Yep. It's inside the axles, inside the bearing sleeve spaces, anywhere that we physically...
Any kind of a cavity that's going to sit there.
And it definitely holds up to the product.
Wipe down the leather.
Yep. Well, this is StrongArm. This coating is here. This was a light tan color before. We StrongArmed it. It's given it a deep patina, a deep, rich color.
Exactly, a natural patina. Not the patina of corrosion. People think corrosion is patina. They got their wires crossed.
So I have been ecstatic with the product.
Well, we are good to hear it. We're trying to get the information, not because we want to just collect it. Well, we want to collect the information and archive it, but we want to have it available for people that can't quite understand what this is. That think it's the same thing as everything else that's in the world. The StrongArm is a different world. When you use this, your world changes. It becomes a different world. A world where there's no rust, no corrosion, any way you administer the product.
What I also like about
What about all your tools out at Bonneville? You got tools out there.
Yeah.
The trailer, the hitches, the receiver on the back.
Everything gets done.
That's trash.
Yeah. It has a great dielectrical strength. We use it on the magneto, caps to stop the salt penetration into those areas.
And Morris loves it on his mags. He used it in his lab.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Morris goes crazy.
So you know, I can't think of any application that you would not be completely confident in using this product. It's as I say, I've been sold on it, and you know, I wouldn't go to Bonneville without it. It's the product itself is just fantastic. I mean, I can't think of anything. I've used everything from every different country in the world, and
well, you've been all around the world, right?
Yeah.
How many generations have you of your genealogy has been out on the salt?
2 generations, my father and myself.
Okay.
Yeah, he's raced as well. But no, it's you know, if you're going to do any form of repair,
And did you make a complete set of viable instructions and functionality that this product will apply directly into that industry? I look at it as an industry.
Okay, so you're talking about like when we mount the tires, the contact patch between the rubber and the rim, where the salt gets in between, and you get the corrosion stuff. When I first started racing, when I got back from Bonneville the first year, I had my tires were going flat on the naturally aspirated race bike, and after we took the tires, dismounted the tires and had a look, and we actually had corrosion building between the rubber and the rim.
Okay,
and
really?
This had formed an air leak on my front tire on the motorcycle.
So
the tire was going
compromised the seal.
It compromised the seal between the rubber and the rim.
The bead would die.
Yeah. So now, before any of the tires are mounted on the motorcycle, we actually go in, we clean the rims off with StrongArm. We use StrongArm as our mounting lubricant for the tubeless tires.
On the beads.
On the beads,
and they slide right on.
Yeah. 7 years later, no flat tire. So as I say, every application, every nut and bolt that you basically use, we found you tend to, I wouldn't say get lax, but you find these applications where you bolt things together and you go, I'll take it apart later and preserve it and protect it.
Well, you're busy with things.
You're busy with things. Now what we do is we just make sure that every nut and bolt that we have goes into a tray, a little bit of StrongArm, and the assembly gets done using those nuts and bolts systems. When you build a Bonneville bike or you're trying to get ready for Bonneville, you try and make sure that all your fasteners have the same size, either with 1/2 inch or 3/16 Allens or 9/16 wrenches. So get yourself a little pile of that hardware around and just get it already pre-soaked in StrongArm. That way,
let it down, and
lay it down, and then you're ready to go. As I was saying,
that's only a couple of teaspoons worth.
Yeah.
To do a whole pile of bolts.
Yeah. We use it on all the levers, all the control levers, as I was saying, the internal throttle cables and cables, all the pivoting, any kind of working mechanism, the preservative that you use.
When the salt gets on that machine, it's cancer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like AIDS.
Yeah.
It's going to eat that thing alive.
And
it's a parasite.
Yeah. What we actually do before we...
So this is worse than airborne ozone or anything like that.
We get the bikes completely cleaned and ready for Bonneville. Before we actually do our first run down the salt, we actually take the Armstrong spray, put it in a mist form, and actually mist the whole
really?
bike,
Yeah, like a body shop paint gun.
Yeah. So when I'm sitting on the start line for the initial first time, as the motor's heating up and stuff, you'll get the mist and the vapor of the Armstrong, the smell of the Armstrong as it starts.
Wow, that's cool.
Vaporizing, and everybody stands back and looks at the motorcycle and wonders what the hell is going on with it because of the smoke. But that is, I found, was the easiest way. Instead of trying to be real delicate and go, oh, we need to put some yarn, just mist the whole bike.
We call it the StrongArm bath.
Yeah,
you give it a StrongArm bath.
And we do the whole bike in actual StrongArm. And that covers the rubber products, the painted product, I mean, everything. You don't have to be cautious about, oh, I can't get this on the paint, oh, I can't get this on the rubber, I can't get this on the electrics, I can't get this on anything. We basically just deck the bolt out in a fine spray of mist of Armstrong, and that's it done. And as I say, when we get back, it's quick and easy. The bike cleans quick, it cleans easy.
Yeah, and even though the iron cylinders get hot, I mean, they heat up. You're probably heating up to about 700 degrees by the time you get done with your runs. It's not enough to really burn it off.
No.
It's not gone until you reach full manifold temperature.
What I like about it is the cling aspect as well. The stuff does not. Once you put it down on something, it doesn't run off. A lot of products, when you apply them, they will just wick off the motorcycle.
Well, it evaporates. You see, what happens is when you put people say that's too thick to be a penetrating oil. They got it wrong. What happens is the penetrant goes into the cracks of the bolt, and then the StrongArm puts a jacket around it.
Yeah.
And that jacket holds whatever is in there on the surface. This is a different world. StrongArm is a completely different world than what the other products are. The root of the design doesn't go into what the standard products that are there.
Yeah.
He said, if you would have had something like this back in 1960, you would have been a world champion forever.
It's changed my life when it's come to racing at Bonneville. I mean, I can't believe my parts throwaway has diminished to virtually zero.
Yeah, so what's the value of that?
I mean, you can't...
In the course of 5 years, that's thousands of dollars.
Yeah, hardware and cables and just wiring. I mean, it's... Not only that, but it's the time and effort that you've got to take the things apart and put them back together.
That's true. How many hours of labor is that?
Yeah.
I mean, you're busy building a new bike. You don't have time to take an old bike and renovate it.
Offset, blank billet. We then grind it to the profiles that we want. We then section that off into 2 cams, set it up so that it looks exactly like the original cam, then go through the hardening process, then cut off the lobe off the cam, index it, weld it on.
Index it onto the shaft.
Onto the new shaft, onto the new gear.
So you get shaft stock and gear stock and all, just literally, and you got that done with science.
Oh yeah.
You've been doing that for how many years?
Oh, a long time. A long time.
So, and then what else do we have to show?
And then
take me through there again. I want to get some of this on film. Starting with the
tear down section.
Yeah.
Well, most of the work we do is vintage motors. Motors will come in, they go down onto the tear down table. From the tear down table, they'll go through a dirty parts washer, a clean parts washer, ultrasonic cleaning tank, and then a high pressure washer system inside here where we do final cleaning after full strip down. You've got some dirty room again.
And that takes that and gets that clean.
Gets that clean. Little machine section.
And these are the old school machines.
Old school machines, old cast iron tables.
Beautiful looking too. And they're all preserved with StrongArm, obviously.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot of people buy it and they want to clean up platings and machine lathe beds, lathes, and you got the lathe over there.
Yep.
There's table saws. It's really important about that kind of stuff.
And then
there's stuff laying around all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that machine's just sitting there in the dampness. It's the middle of the summer, 90 degrees out, and
humidity just kills.
Yeah, the air is taking its toll. The weather's taking its toll.
The dirty room. This is where all the air tools and all the grinding is done.
And you put StrongArm in every one of those tools.
Every one of those tools is lubricated with StrongArm.
Isn't that amazing?
And
you got quite a bit of tools there.
Yeah, there's a lot of money.
And you have each one set up for precision, certain types of functions that you perform.
So when you're doing it, you can just swap tools.
And do you port heads too?
Yep.
So you're a head porter.
Yeah, head porter.
And you do flow work. You do flow work. Yep. And what bench do you flow on? That's back there.
Back over there.
Okay.
We have a flow dial.
Okay. So you do flowing.
Flow work. And then we have the grinding sections with different forms of grinding. The lathe doing internal and external grinding.
Awesome. Somebody that doesn't have a nice shop, man. And this is sandblasting?
Yeah.
A whole bunch.
3 different forms of blasting. We have a grit blasting machine that we use platinum slag, and we have a bead blasting machine at the back, and then this is our peening machine for peening connecting rods and bearing cages. Where we actually use steel shot, round steel shot walls.
Wow, that does a nice job, eh?
Yeah. Well, it just does a surface strengthening.
Now, what about when you do frames? When you build frames, do you certain way that you handle a frame and work on a frame? And
there's a couple
painter frames.
Well, what we've been doing with the really early frames is going in, putting some of the tubes down. The factory had what we call blow holes when they were welding the frames and brazing the frames. They put little holes in the frame so it didn't build up pressure and it didn't blow the brazing out of the swage joints when they had swaged them together with the brass. So they have holes in the bottom of the frame tubes. So down at the bottom of the frame tubes you'll find little holes drilled where it could relieve the pressure Let's see where they are on this one.
So when they heat the metal up, it builds pressure. They had to let
Pressure inside.
it was relief. It was for relief.
So what we do now is we go into those holes. We actually put Armstrong in the inside.
Strong arm them right inside the frame.
Inside the frame. Inside
Really?
the tubes to
Wow.
stop the corrosion.
Yeah.
Because
turn the frame upside down and let it just run through the frame.
Run through the frame. Run through the frame.
So there's another application. And when you're on the salt, you got those holes exposed.
Yeah.
Do you ever seal the holes up or close them?
What we do is we put strong arm into the frame, drain it out, and then plug the tubes with rubber plugs.
Oh, so you have actual plugs to actually plug up. And once you put that strong arm in, that's sealed forever.
Yeah, it's done.
Indefinitely locked away.
Yeah.
Now there's the secret.
So just through the years of taking frames apart and seeing the amount of corrosion inside of the frame, I realized it was something I had to do to preserve.
Did you ever have an issue where the frames actually rusted away from the inside out?
Yeah, we found that with the springers, with some of the early springers, because they had the same application where they have the blowhole.
Yep, I've seen them.
And then what will happen is this will correct moisture. This will fill up with water and
right at the bottom.
And the bottom part of the tube will actually become weak and broken off.
I've seen them at swap meets where the bottoms are all rotted away.
Well, we do the same thing again. Put strong arm into the inside of the thing, shake it around, drain out the excess, plug the hole.
Wow.
And then it's done. We know we don't have any issue with these.
These are intricate, minute little functions that are so simple, and yet it stops a problem that literally takes the bike. The bike is ruined.
Or it takes a real antique piece and preserves it for future generations. Because if this is not.
So the museums are doing stuff like this too, but they don't run on the salt like you do. You know.
So.
That's cool. So where's the next operating area?
We have.
Is there a paint facility here someplace?
Yeah. If you want, what you can do is your camera still running.
Yeah.
Okay. What we do is when we get the engine cases ready. Now these are motors that when a customer calls up and they depict what year that they want to have a motor built, we try and get ahead by having all the engine cases and everything ready. Anything that is in a final stage of preparation, some of these cases are going to be stored for a long time. We go in and all the bearing races, all the studs, all the metal parts of these cases are actually prepped and covered with strong arm just to keep them.
Well, so everything you see up there has been strong armed and then put into stock.
And put into stock and ready for use.
So that's long-term storage of the piece that the customer is going to purchase down the road, whoever it may be.
Yeah, how long it's
so we're actually showing the functionality of your operation, not just the product strong arm, but how it's literally woven through the entire functionality of AmericanCycleFab itself.
In every application, there's virtually nothing we don't do that we don't actually use.
From the front door lock to the loading dock. That's what we say at the factories, from maintenance standpoints.
What I've been using, another application of strong arm when we do the parkerizing of the original, when we're doing these original motorcycles.
So you parkerize too?
Yep, I do the parkerizing. When we're done with the parkerizing, they always tell you dump the parts in oil to preserve the parkerizing and stuff. I don't use oil anymore. It's only strong arm.
Okay.
All of these
and not very much of it, just a little on a piece of cloth.
Spray bottle, don't have to dunk it, just spray it down and wipe it with a cloth and it's ready to go.
And that sits there until
you're ready for the application.
Could be a decade.
Yeah. So all of these bikes, oil tanks, once we've cleaned and derusted the inside of the oil tanks, this guaranteed is strong armed on the inside, and it's fantastic because I can come back to this bike. This was done probably 4 or 5 years ago. If we look on the inside of the oil tank, it's like the day it came out of the rust.
Yeah, and it's damp in here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no air conditioning in this end of the building.
Yeah.
Now, what about that transmission cases and gear cases?
Yep.
What kind of things do you do with those type of devices?
Okay, and when we build them, they're assembled with an assembly lube, but the gears, before we close the transmission up, we just spray some strong arm over the gears and stuff and close it up. Might not be filled with oil because you don't know how long it's going to be before we actually get to it.
Right, so it sits there assembled.
So it sits there assembled, and I know I'm not going to have any of the corrosion take place that you normally get when you finger and you handle parts.
Right,
you
exactly.
start getting that, the salts from your hand.
Sure.
Give you the corrosion. So we have an incredible amount of cylinders that are all being cleaned and prepped. Again, they've got the strong arm down the cylinder balls and on the valve seats.
Yeah.
So that when we get ready for the
And these are stored out here where it's in the open.
Yeah,
Okay.
completely open.
Where there's no air conditioning, not a fan running.
Nope.
It's just in the humidity of an old barn.
Yep.
Basically, the 100% humidity. It's 98 degrees out right now, and humidity is like 85%, 90%. It's it's a heat wave.
all of the gas tanks, all the internals, they're all being sprayed with strong arm. Only way I know to keep them.
So what you're running here is basically a preservation room. I mean, everything here is in a state of this is cryogenic storage.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. It's the as far as the surfaces go, it's a cryogenic storage for the surfaces of the metal. Amazing. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces up there. How many different motorcycles can we build from all these pieces? God. Goes on for like 60 feet. So, beautiful. Well, here's the room. And this is where the painting goes on, eh?
And you see what happens when you don't use strong arm, but the internal of that gas tank has been strong armed.
And we can't see that well, but we'll try.
You can't really see.
Yeah, it's just preserved on the inside. It's not rotting away.
Yeah, you can't see.
So preserving the insides of the tanks is a very important thing. Amazing. You can do all kinds of specialized little ferrules and
yeah, this is for the next the turbocharged race bike. We're actually going to put that onto the front.
Oh, cool! Wow, that's a little art project.
So,
yeah.
So I've been doing the layout of the design and stuff like
Excellent. Yeah. That'll take quite a bit of little technique. Amazing. Awesome. So you guys are involved with a lot of different things. People think you're just making up a bike and going down the salt. You're doing a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
And people send you motorcycles from all over the world.
Engines. Our record at one stage was 5 different countries and 15 different states.
Really?
Motors we had in the shop at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At one time?
At one time.
15 states and 5 countries.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's global, man.
Yeah, it's staying busy.
Yeah.
It's really staying busy.
And keeping those guys going all the time. And here's a bunch of old raw iron and bar stock and little compressors. This looks like another shop back here. I see you got air in there and stuff.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. And what do we got? Anything out back we can look at?
Yeah, not really. It's
Okay.
just trailers and getting the bike. He's getting a pit bike.
He's doing a strong arm job?
He's doing a strong
Let's
arm.
go look at it. Okay.
This is a bike. I bought this bike for my pit bike. It's been standing for nearly 18 years. And we're going to take it out of Bonneville. So what I need to do is get it cleaned up. And we're getting the surface rust. You can see the look of this and the look of the rust on the outside. And this is what he's busy doing now, is getting the rims cleaned up. And
that was a rusty rim, eh, dude?
Oh, yes.
How much strong arm did you put on? A few drops?
A couple drops, yeah.
Oh, mind your hand. This is what the rim
Originally looked like.
He's already got it all done.
No, there's a part that I didn't do yet.
There's a part that he hasn't done.
I got it. Camera's only picked up 10% of what you can do with yourself. You're using an old bottle, an ancient bottle.
Here's the front rim. You can see what the front rim looks like.
Yeah. I call that a fingernail job. See?
Yeah.
Put a couple of drops of strong arm on there and rub it with your fingernail.
Yeah.
Those people replace parts that can be brought back, and it's not just cleaning it. It's the fact that once it's clean, it's going to stay pristine.
Forever, because I will just keep the thing strong armed.
You only have to put it on every, 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, it's So this is going to be our pit bike, and the whole thing is going to be strong arm.
And you're redoing the carburetor and everything else
Yep.
to run on the salt. I like the shroud. That'll keep the salt off the motor. It's a good idea.
Well, it's a pit bike, so we can travel backwards and forwards because distances are so vast out there.